各位觀眾大家好，歡迎收睇26分鐘見證實錄。隨住2026世界盃越嚟越近，全國都掀起一股足球熱潮。上一集我哋就提到嚟自香港嘅新移民點樣去準備投入呢一項嘅盛事，為本國足球隊打氣。而睇翻近年國家隊嘅表現，自上一屆2022年世界盃時隔36年重返決賽周之後，佢哋嘅表現可以話係越戰越勇㗎。本地年輕球員打入世界盃已經唔再係遙不可及嘅夢想啦。究竟呢一班未來嘅生力軍對於本地足球發展有啲乜嘢期望？加拿大又能否藉住今一屆嘅世界盃嘅契機，去繼續邁向足球強國之路呢？
Obviously, professional is going to be really fun if I ever make it there. I mean, the chances of me making it there are 1 in a million, but still, you can never give up.
I'm gonna go watch their games. Hopefully, I can see like players that are famous and all that. Hopefully, I can join Team Canada if that's possible.
I think this country has potential. Our country is on the brink of performing at home at the World Cup. Similar success that we had with the women's national team, we want to see with the men's national teams.
We're going to be focusing on ball mastery. Like I said, we want to have touches on the ball, repetition. So hopefully you'll see some great soccer skills out there, and then we're going to be moving into 1v1. So putting those kids against each other, testing out those skills to beat pressure. And then we're going to do some 2v2s, how we incorporate that with a teammate, and then going into a game.
Kevin 喺7年前創立咗呢個球會，專門教5至12歲中意運動嘅小朋友踢波。
So they come twice a week. So on a Tuesday is more of our technical session, focusing on kind of game-related models and focuses like ahead of the game coming at the weekend. And Friday is more so just a chance to put that into practice, right? So we're trying to take that technical learning and put it into practice under pressure and just get them prepared for gameplay.
比起訓練小朋友成為職業足球員，球會更加着重建立佢哋對足球嘅長期熱愛，培養領導特質同埋團隊合作。
It's always been popular here, but it just has grown so much over the last few years. I think for me the moment was when Canada played in the World Cup in Qatar. That was like a light bulb for these kids. It was like, wow, I can connect what I'm doing on the field with the greatest stage, right? And they can dream and believe about chasing that dream. And my hope is simple, right? I just want them to love the game. I think it's pretty well documented that sport in general has a lot of positive value off the field, right? It's about life lessons and character development, right? These kids are learning how to be leaders, how to work in a team, how to be resilient, how to learn to win and lose gracefully. These are all so important as they grow up, right?
11歲嘅 Tatum 係隊內嘅隊長，6歲開始踢波嘅佢，而家喺球隊打後衛同埋中場位置。
When you play offense, I feel like you don't get as much action. I feel like in defense and midfield, you can get a lot more of the ball, and you're kind of like the center of the team. You're the one who has to play the ball out to people. You're the one who has to kind of bail at your teammates sometimes. There's this one time I was near the halfway line, and I saw a lot of people in the box. So I wanted to pass the ball to them, and I did like a lob up, but I think I had a little too much power in it because instead of going to a player, I went into the top corner of the net. And we ended up winning that game, and I'm pretty sure I can call that a happy accident. It's always nice, like when you win something or when you achieve something with your team, you can celebrate that with a lot of people, whereas like in some other sports I do, it's solo, really it's only me who's celebrating. I also like, again, the teamwork aspect of it, your team, sometimes they've always got you, sometimes, they'll hit you, sometimes they can be disappointing, like, that. But most of the time, they can help you on and off the pitch.
對於未來 ，Tatum 直言自己亦都有個職業足球願望，亦都希望透過今次嘅世界盃，俾世界睇到本國嘅足球。
Because I feel like Canada doesn't get that much popularity in soccer. We're always like overlooked, like it's always England or France or something. Whereas like now, I think this is going to be the center of the soccer world. I think it's going to be very exciting. We have a very good soccer atmosphere here. Well, obviously professional is going to be really fun if I ever make it there. I mean, the chances of me making it there are 1 in a million, but still, you know, you can never give up. But I feel like even if I don't make it to professional soccer, that doesn't mean I'll stop playing soccer, you know? I feel like soccer is a good way to stay fit, stay athletic, stay in touch with a lot of people.
同 Tatum 一樣有職業球員夢嘅人並唔少，16歲嘅 Dylan 亦都踏上呢個追夢嘅旅程，喺卑詩超級足球聯賽呢個省內青少年最高殿堂嘅賽事中代表球會出戰。
Wednesdays are kind of tired. We train 3 times a week and then have a game. So, I mean, the load's pretty good so far, so it's good. I really love using my pace. I love scoring goals. I love getting assists. I like getting the ball a lot, so I like doing that.
打右翼嘅佢早前更加入選卑詩省足球代表隊培訓計劃，令佢有更加多嘅機會打唔同嘅比賽。
Yeah, I really felt confident. My brothers, both of them played in the BC soccer program, so I was really excited when I got the letter. We play normally MLS Next, so Whitecaps, Portland, Seattle, teams like that in the Cascadia. Adriano is also the coach for the BC Soccer, so he transfers all the, I guess, trainings and all that to our practices, so it's really good to see and I'm really used to it.
佢表示參加更有競爭性嘅比賽，令自己可以有更加多磨練同埋成長嘅機會，而即將嚟臨嘅世界盃亦都令佢更加有動力，希望可以成為國家隊嘅一員。
I'm gonna go watch their games. Hopefully I can see like players that are famous and all that. Hopefully I can join Team Canada if that's possible.
要令到夢想實現，除咗單靠個人努力，制度嘅支持亦都係關鍵。而家執教球會卑詩超級足球聯賽代表隊嘅Adriano指，有更加多本地聯賽嘅出現，令到而家嘅球員有更加多嘅機會可以參與高水平嘅競技賽事。
Now we have the CPL, the Canadian Premier League. We also have League One, BC, that's arrived in the province. So now we're starting to see a real path to pro for players, where even 20 years ago, when I was a youth player, I didn't have these options and opportunities. If we ever wanted something, we had to go overseas or we had to go to find other opportunities in other countries. But now there's real opportunity and potential for these players locally here to get into professional teams.
機會多咗，令到青年球員實力大增，加上早前引入嘅球員長遠發展計劃，根據青年球員心理同埋身體發展，提供唔同嘅足球體驗。好似 Tatum 呢類年紀嘅小朋友，主要提供基礎訓練，到12歲之後，好似 Dylan 咁樣就開始訓練戰術意識，再一步一步走進正式嘅比賽同埋聯賽舞台，亦都令到更加多嘅球員將足球視為一世嘅興趣。而隨住越嚟越多人熱愛足球，兩隊球會嘅教練都認為要繼續發展足球，場地始終係挑戰。
Field space is always a challenge, but we make it work. As you can see already, there's other sessions that are starting right after. So they are efficient with it, but we could definitely benefit from more field space. That would be great for the players and coaches and clubs. Other than that, I think the resources are pretty good here. We're fortunate with the weather to have good weather throughout most of the year.
Yeah, I think everybody wants the same thing, right? Like these turf fields are fantastic. We just need more of them, right? And to say it's important that we work together to make that happen, right? It's something that the kids need to be able to train. We need these lights so they can play fall and winter. So yeah, like if we could have the funding to get more fields, that's great.
針對呢啲嘅問題，卑詩足協指有收到唔同嘅球會反映，而會方正同省市政府合作，制定策略應對。
We do have a very strong and close partnership with the provincial government in order to identify these gaps and start forming a new strategy on how we address this. As a large participation sport, we continue to experience this gap in not only the number of facilities, but the quality of facilities that we have access to. This has been a continued dialogue that we have with our clubs and continue to be a top of mind when we work in collaboration with the provincial government as well as municipalities.
事實上，呢啲嘅挑戰並唔係卑詩省獨有，喺全國唔同省份嘅球會亦都面臨同類嘅問題。阿斯相信，即將嚟臨嘅世界盃會係良好嘅契機，發展本地足球嘅軟件同埋硬件。
How can we turn this momentum, this initiative, into actually a movement that sees us improving the quality of our facilities, improving the number of facilities available for the practice of the game. The second pillar is increasing training and capacity development for our clubs and for the ability of our clubs to have quality individuals training on a regular basis, our players, quality match officials to support our competition pathway, and quality administrators to manage the growth that we intend to see.
卑詩足協早前亦都調整會員結構，增加原住民、少數族裔等嘅參與機會，並同唔同嘅機構合作，將足球文化推廣到全省偏遠社區。而卑詩足協相信留得住而家嘅人才，令到有潛質嘅球員能夠繼續喺足球相關嘅職業上發展，將有助為本國足球隊培養優秀球員，從而喺國際舞台上取得更加理想嘅成績。
For us, the trend that we're seeing is definitely one that there's large participation and interest of the game, but there is definitely an opportunity for us to highlight how the journey of players within our system can be better improved to ensure that they're playing soccer for longer, they are transitioning into coaches, referees, administrators within the game, and they are having a better experience while participating in the game. I think this country has potential. Our country is on the brink of performing at home at the World Cup. Similar success that we had with the women's national team, we experienced. We want to see with the men's national team. So I think both on participation as well as the incentive that we have in our country to play for a team that represents our country and is able to compete. The next stage is definitely performance, and Canada Soccer and the technical team for the men's and the women's are certainly working towards that.
今屆嘅世界盃，不論加拿大最終能否再創佳績，呢項全球矚目嘅盛事無疑已經為本地嘅足球發展注入咗強心針。而我哋下一節翻嚟就會睇睇卑詩省府同埋溫哥華市政府對於住宿以及交通配套上點樣去迎接世界盃。歡迎翻嚟節目時間。溫哥華作為世界盃主辦城市之一將會喺6月中至到7月初合共舉辦7場嘅賽事。卑詩省府就預計屆時會有大約35萬人湧到溫市。但係溫市長久以嚟一直都面對住住宿供應短缺。每當有盛事舉辦都會出現供不應求嘅情況。我哋嘅住宿同埋交通配套又係未準備好應對今次嘅考驗呢？
As you can see, it has a really beautiful view, a rainy view today, but of False Creek, and it's only about a 10-minute walk from BC Place, so it's a really great location at Marina Side Crescent.
依間位於溫哥華市中心大家私2房2廁嘅單位，而家月租需要6000蚊。不過明年世界盃嘅時候就可能唔係呢個價格。
It's really hard to say what it's going to be next year just because of policy changes that may or may not happen. But typically, during the summertime, this listing will rent out for between $6,500 to about $7,500 to $8,000 per month.
房屋租賃平台 LiveRent 不時會就租賃市場趨勢發表報告，而平台預測明年夏季嘅世界盃將會對本地嘅租賃市場帶嚟好大挑戰。
We do expect the furnished rental market to see the most impact, and this is typically because historically the furnished rental market is quicker to respond to short-term rental demand spikes, and so the FIFA World Cup is expected to bring up to 350,000 spectators to the city, and for the event alone. So we're really expecting to see that demand surge for short-term rentals and for furnished rentals especially. When it comes to long-term rentals, we do expect there to be a slight increase there as well. But because we do have short-term rental policies in place right now, we do expect the most impact to be on the furnished rentals.
至於長期影響方面，佢認為而家或者難以估計，但影響有可能唔只係賽期短短1個月，而係持續一段時間。
Yeah, I think it's really hard to say in terms of long-term effects because with rental prices specifically, we do expect them to cool down a bit more closer to the end of next year. Yeah, I think it is kind of early to tell. I do think, the city will benefit from, certain infrastructure upgrades that we've been doing here and there in the city as we have seen from the Vancouver 2010 Olympics.
除咗需求上升，供應不足亦都係令價格上升嘅一大原因。持有短期租賃牌照嘅住宅單位喺溫哥華只有約4700個，即使連同13000個嘅酒店單位，亦都不足以滿足世界盃期間預計約35萬球迷嘅需求。Mattis U 認為省市政府都應該採取措施穩定租賃市場。
I do think that's really important to hear what the community thinks about our policies. Any different ideas that maybe have not been put forth on the table. I think that's a really important aspect for Vancouver to do as a whole, because this is going to be something that will affect everyone in Vancouver for the next year.
事實上，相比起短期租賃市場，酒店價格嘅變化嚟得更加快。世界盃比賽期間已經有酒店價格飆升至每晚超過3000蚊。短中平台 Airbnb 委託德勤顧問公司撰寫嘅最新報告，預計喺賽事最關鍵嘅9日期間，將會出現7萬個嘅住宿缺口，而酒店價格更加可能急升至200%。所以強烈呼籲省市政府放寬短租規定。不過，省府早前已經明言拒絕，指唔會為世界盃開先例。
We're keen to work with organizers, with the city and others to make sure we're able to accommodate people who are coming to visit. But regardless of whether it's the World Cup or a huge convention of dentists or whatever it is, coming to Vancouver to visit, what we can't do is displace people who work and deliver services in Vancouver to support those activities. That housing is needed.
卑詩旅遊、藝術、文化同埋體育廳長康安麗補充，卑詩省過往亦都曾經舉辦過冬奧，認為省內已經有足夠嘅住宿設施，鼓勵旅客可以到溫哥華以外嘅地方租屋。
We have places from Vancouver Island where we see Victoria and Nanaimo, all the way to Sunshine Coast and Whistler, Squamish and Tri-Cities. But right beside Vancouver, we have 3 major cities with lots of hotel rooms and accommodations such as Burnaby, Richmond and Surrey. So we are encouraging everyone to explore BC to be able to stay at short-term rentals all across British Columbia as well as hotel stays.
同溫哥華市府合作，共同負責溫哥華世界盃賽事嘅溫哥華世界盃籌委會負責人就鼓勵溫哥華嘅居民可以開放自己嘅住所，透過短期出租應對酒店房間短缺嘅問題。
An understanding around the fact that currently anybody who has a principal residence is allowed to rent out any room or suite in their principal residence through short-term rentals, and it's a very easy process to get a license. And so, in addition to the hotel supply that we have, we're also looking to, local residents who may want to open up their homes as well and earn a little bit of income as they go. I mean, the ability for them to do that is there, provided the short-term rental is under 90 days, which in this case it will be. And so, hopefully between those two things, we can accommodate a great number of people.
不過，市民如果有意出租，仍然需要申請省級同埋市級嘅牌照，收費為至少1年約1160蚊，另外加74蚊嘅登記費。雖然可以按申請時間比例計算，但市府指要喺世界盃期間出租，最遲都要喺4月申請。
And both of those processes are very long, they're time consuming, they require a lot of effort from potential hosts. And frankly, it's a deterrent to them. If you're just going to be hosting for a couple of weeks, going through a very long, very expensive process is probably something that you're just not willing to do. So we're saying to both the city and the province, make it a little bit less expensive. Maybe Vancouver charges a couple of $100 for a license, just a temporary license for FIFA. Maybe the province gets rid of their fees altogether just to incite a few more people to come onto the platforms and to decide to share their home, especially if they're already getting out of town.
Harold 又認為，旅客如果想嚟睇世界盃，一般都唔會揀距離場地遙遠嘅城市居住，所以重新加快審批同埋減少牌照申請費用係最直接有效。
We're hearing some ideas about people could stay in Victoria and take the ferry over. That's pretty complicated, and frankly, Victoria is beautiful, but I might think about going to see the games in another city if I'm going to have to go through that amount of travel just from the place that I'm staying to the actual game and back. We've heard talk about maybe getting cruise ships into the harbor and that people could stay there. Well, that's also incredibly challenging. It's expensive and it's terrible for the environment.
佢相信當今年12月初國際足協完成咗分組抽籤嘅時候，就會有唔少球迷決定去邊度睇賽事，屆時就會面臨訂房嘅高峰。而佢亦都指，省府同溫市如果唔採取措施解決危機，日後或者會影響活動再落戶溫哥華。
There is a real reputational risk to Vancouver. We already know that there have been other major events that have not been able to attract as many people as they were expecting because there were not enough places for people to stay. When that happens on a regular basis, or when it happens with a big event like FIFA, that starts to be something that others consider when they're thinking about whether or not they want to bring a concert or a conference or another major event into Vancouver, because they're going to worry that it's not going to work, that it's going to be too logistically challenging, that it's going to be too expensive, and they won't be able to bring in the number of people they need. This is bigger than just FIFA.
至於交通配套方面，溫哥華世界盃籌委會早前已經發布賽事期間嘅封路範圍，而市府亦都會同運輸聯線緊密合作，增加喺賽事期間嘅班次。
We're working really closely with TransLink to ensure that bus service, SkyTrain service is augmented and managed around the match schedule. We are also working with the city and local law enforcement and transportation mobility experts to try and make sure that we have a safe corridor of passage for teams and staff and residents. We do encourage most people to try to maybe not drive to downtown during that period. It's going to be a very, very busy time. And so we'd like to encourage people to take Uber or, bike or walk or SkyTrain or bus.
有公共運輸倡議組織同意溫哥華舉行賽事嘅地理位置靠近架空列車站，相信喺疏通人流方面會比其他舉辦世界盃嘅城市嚟得更加快。
BC Place is in a really excellent location to be served by SkyTrain, and SkyTrain has so much capacity. You've seen during Taylor Swift how they can just add more trains, and it's all automatic, so they can just stack up the trains one after the other and clear big crowds quickly.
不過 Egg 亦都提醒本地舉辦世界盃期間，真正嘅挑戰嚟自巴士運輸，因為大溫多數嘅居民仍然依賴巴士出門。
Where we're going to see challenges are buses, because in Metro Vancouver, actually buses move more people than SkyTrain. Most people don't live near the SkyTrain and they rely on the buses. And what I'm worried about is that all of those buses that are so crucial are going to get stuck in traffic, because we have very few bus lanes in this city compared to other cities.
佢建議今次嘅世界盃可以仿效2010年東奧嗰陣增設嘅巴士專用行車線，而市府亦都應該趁機推動更加多長期嘅巴士專用行車線，以長遠改善而家交通擠塞嘅問題。
Basically, any route that leads in and out of the downtown core should have a bus lane on it. And maybe not just for FIFA. We can try it for FIFA. Maybe let's try and extend it into the future. But like streets like Burrard, Hastings, Cordova and Powell, we should look at like 2nd on the other side of Falls Creek, and Broadway, especially considering that the SkyTrain still isn't complete. Expo and Pacific leading to the stadium.
明年世界盃面對嘅球隊可以舉起大力神杯，仍然係未知之數。但呢場體壇盛事嘅意義早已經唔係單純嘅足球比賽。
I feel like you don't have to be very good at it. You don't have to be very skilled at it. You can, it gives you a chance to, interact with other people. I feel like soccer really brings people together. I think the World Cup, when it comes to Vancouver, will really bring people together.
好啦，今集嘅節目時間就差唔多啦。咁如果觀眾對我哋嘅節目有啲乜嘢意見嘅話，係好歡迎大家以電郵嘅方式同我哋聯絡㗎。我哋嘅電郵地址係 mag26@fairchildtv.com。如果觀眾咧想上網重溫今集嘅節目，亦都可以上到去我哋嘅網站3w.fairchildtv.com， 點擊節目重溫一欄就可以睇得返㗎啦。下星期同樣時間再同大家見面，晚安。